the vanishing centuries ago, when humanity had just begun to explore the stars, there was one ship that stood above all others, the Horizon. It was a massive Earth starship, armed with powerful weapons and advanced technology. The Horizon was a symbol of human courage and ambition, the pride of Earth's growing fleet. It was sent on a dangerous mission deep into unknown space, a region few dared to travel. But one day, without warning, the Horizon vanished. No one knew what happened. There was no distress signal, no wreckage, and no survivors. The ship disappeared, as if swallowed by the darkness of space. For years, humanity searched, sending scout ships and probes into the region. But nothing was ever found. As time passed, the story of the Horizon became a legend. The galaxy changed, and many alien empires rose and fell. New star systems were claimed, and old wars were forgotten. Only a few historians and old captains still spoke about the lost human ship. The aliens often laughed about it, calling it a sign of human weakness. Humans are brave, but foolish, they would say. They build ships they cannot protect. Even in the Galactic Council, where leaders of powerful alien civilizations gathered to make decisions about the galaxy, the Horizon was nothing more than an old myth. The council chambers, a grand circular hall filled with alien voices and shimmering lights, echoed with pride and arrogance. The elder races believed they ruled the galaxy without challenge. On one such day, the council gathered to discuss a new trade route near a dead star system. The Empire of the Varkan, ancient and proud, boasted about how no human ship had ever dared enter their territory since the disappearance of the Horizon. A tall alien named Varkesh, leader of the Varkan Empire, stood and spoke loudly. Humans may spread like pests, but they fear the unknown. They lost a ship here once, long ago. It never returned, and neither did their courage. The council members laughed. Some nodded in agreement, but in that very moment, a council officer entered the hall in a hurry. His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear. "My lords," he stammered, "a strange signal has appeared near the dead star." "What signal?" Varkesh growled. "It's an old Earth signal, sir." A room fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The officer continued, "A ship has appeared. The readings say it's human-made. But it matches no known active ship. Its ID code is ancient." The council chamber's giant screen lit up. A dark shape slowly moved through the cold, empty space near the dead star. Its surface was battered and scorched, its hull covered in the marks of countless battles. It looked like a ghost ship, forgotten by time. Then, the ship's name appeared on the screen. The Horizon. A cold silence swept over the council. Even Varkesh stepped back, his proud face turning pale. "That's impossible," he whispered. "That ship was lost 4 centuries ago." The council ordered immediate action. Probes were launched toward the Horizon. Fast, silent machines designed to scan and report. But something strange happened. As each probe approached the ship, it disappeared from the sensors. One by one, they were lost without a trace. The council members grew uneasy. They argued about what to do. Some suggested destroying the ship from a distance. Others warned against it. No one knew what power it might hold after so many years. It was, after all, built by humans, the race known for doing the impossible. On Earth, in a military base hidden deep under the mountains, a group of officers received an ancient, broken signal. The message was weak, distorted, and incomplete, but one thing was clear. It was from the Horizon. Earth's commander-in-chief, a calm and stern man named Admiral Kane, read the message and stared at the star map. He turned to his officers. "Prepare. The fleet," he ordered. "We're bringing our people home." The officers exchanged worried glances. No one had dared enter that part of space for hundreds of years, but orders were orders. And if the horizon was out there, humanity would not leave it behind. Back at the Galactic Council, fear began to grow. What if the ship carried something dangerous? What if it had learned secrets in the dark corners of space? Or worse, what if the humans were coming back for revenge? As the ship floated closer, its lights flickered. A single figure appeared in its control room window, blurry and indistinct. No one could see its face. But one thing was certain. Something was still alive on the horizon dot, and the galaxy was about to remember why it once feared the name. Humanity. Asterisk, the horizon awakens. The cold emptiness of space stretched endlessly around the dead star system. No planets, no life, only ancient stardust floating in the darkness. And in the middle of it, like a sleeping beast, drifted the horizon. Its lights flickered weakly, parts of its hull broken and blackened. The ship looked like it should have been dead centuries ago, yet somehow it was still there. The Galactic Council had sent more probes, but each one disappeared before reaching the old Earthship. Some vanished into nothing. Others were caught off by a sudden, unknown interference. It was clear that something strange surrounded the horizon dot inside the council chamber. Fear spread like wildfire. The elder races who had once ruled the galaxy without question now whispered nervously. The name Horizon carried weight even after 400 years. It was a ghost from the past that no one wanted to face. We must destroy it. One alien shouted. Fools, barked another. Do you even know what power it might hold? Varkish, the Varkan Empire's leader, clenched his claws. I will not let an old human relic scare the council, he growled. Send a warship. Blast it out of existence. But just as the council agreed, something happened. A deep, ancient Earth distress signal shot out from the horizon. The sound echoed across multiple frequencies, carried through space like a dying heartbeat. It reached the nearest human outpost within hours. At Earth's main military command, deep underground, alarms blared. Technicians scrambled to track the signal's source. The old Earth language code was nearly forgotten, but a few officers still knew how to read it. One young officer, Lieutenant Mara, worked quickly at her console. Her face turned pale as the message became clear. Commander, it's the horizon, she whispered. It's alive. Admiral Kane stood over the screen, his eyes narrowing. The signal was weak but steady. The horizon was calling for help. Without hesitation, he gave the order. Assemble the fleet. We move now. Within hours, Earth's finest ships, newer, faster, and deadlier than those of old, prepared to jump to the dead star system. The galaxy had long forgotten what it meant for humanity's fleet to move in force. But they were about to remember. Meanwhile, back in space, a strange phenomenon began around the horizon. Small lights flickered across its surface. Old thrusters coughed to life. The ship, after so long, started to turn. On the bridge of an alien battleship watching from a distance, the crew stared in horror. It's moving, one of them whispered. No one is piloting it. Another shouted. But something was definitely happening. The horizon slowly rotated, its long dormant engines pushing it toward the edge of the dead star's gravity. Its ancient weapon systems powered up. The heavy cannons glowed faintly, ready for battle. Back on Earth's approaching fleet, excitement and fear mixed in equal measure. Admiral Kane addressed his captains over the communication channel. We don't know what's aboard that ship, he said, but it was ours once, and we don't leave our own behind. The fleet jumped into hyperspace. As they traveled, old stories were told among the crews. Tales of the horizon's bravery, of its mission into unknown space. Some said it had been hunting a great threat. Others claimed it was guarding a secret too dangerous to reveal. No one knew the truth. Inside the horizon, in the dim, broken control room, old systems rebooted. Dust floated in the air. Cracked screens flickered back to life. In one corner, a cryo chamber hummed. Inside, a figure lay frozen, her face pale but peaceful. Captain Elena Cross, the last commander of the Horizon, was still alive. Her eyes moved behind closed lids, as if dreaming. And then, without warning, her cryopod lights turned green. The ship's AI, damaged but still loyal, made its final decision. Wake the captain. A mechanical voice crackled in the empty room. Vital signs stable. Awakening protocol initiated. Slowly, Captain Cross's eyes opened. She took a sharp breath, coughing weakly, her body stiff from centuries of frozen sleep. Her memories were a blur, but one thing came back to her immediately: the danger. The ancient enemy. She whispered. Far away, in a hidden part of the galaxy, an ancient signal responded. A long-forgotten evil had heard the Horizon's call, and it was waking up too. Asterisk. First contact, the human fleet burst out of hyperspace near the dead star system. Dozens of sleek warships appeared one by one, their metal hulls reflecting the light of distant stars. The flagships stood at the front, engines humming softly, weapons armed, and shields raised. Earth's colors flew high on each ship, a proud reminder that humanity had returned. On the bridge of Earth's command ship, Admiral Kane stared at the dark shape in the distance. There she is, he muttered. The Horizon. The sight of the old ship sent a strange feeling through the fleet. It looked ancient and wounded, but it still drifted forward like a ghost refusing to die. Lights flickered weakly along its battered surface, and one of its massive cannons slowly turned toward an invisible enemy. Admiral Kane spoke to his officers. Prepare a boarding team. I want a team on that ship now. The order was dangerous. No one knew what they would find on the horizon. Some feared it might be a trap. Others worried about what ancient secrets it held. But no one spoke against the Admiral's decision. Earth didn't leave its people behind, not even after 4 centuries. At the same time, alien warships surrounded the system at a distance. The Galactic Council had sent them to watch. They didn't dare approach, but kept their weapons aimed at both the Horizon and the human fleet. The aliens whispered in their command rooms, wondering what madness humans were about to unleash. Boarding shuttle from Earth's fleet moved toward the Horizon. A small team of soldiers and engineers sat inside, their weapons ready. Lieutenant Mara, the officer who had first read the Horizon's signal, led the team. She felt the weight of history on her shoulders. As the shuttle neared, the ancient ships. Docking bay doors creaked open on their own. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Is it expecting us? One soldier asked. No talking, Mara ordered. Stay sharp. The shuttle landed inside the massive docking bay. Dust floated in the stale air. The walls were cracked and covered in old burn marks. Yet the atmosphere was still breathable, and emergency lights gave off a faint blue glow. They stepped out. Carefully, weapons raised. The silence was heavy, broken only by the distant hum of machinery. Spread out, Mara said. Check for life signs. The team moved through the ship's interior, passing long-forgotten control rooms and empty corridors. Strange symbols, burned into the walls, hinted at battles long ago. Bloodstains marked the floor in places, faded but still visible. Suddenly, a voice crackled through their coms. Team Bravo here, a soldier reported. We found cryopods, at least a dozen. Any survivors? Mara asked quickly. 1, came the answer. Vital stable. Cryo unit number 1. Captain Elena Cross. Mara's heart skipped a beat. She knew the name. Every cadet at the academy had learned about Captain Cross the woman who vanished with the horizon. "Wake her up," Mara ordered Dot in the ship's ancient cryo chamber. The crew carefully started the awakening process. The old systems groaned and hissed, releasing mist into the room. The pod lights turned green, and Captain Elena Cross's eyes fluttered open. She took a shaky breath, her face pale and confused. For a moment, she stared in silence, then whispered, "Is it gone, Captain?" Mara said, kneeling beside her. "You've been asleep for 400 years. Elena's eyes widened. "The ancient enemy," she gasped. "It's not dead. It's waiting." Before Mara could ask more, alarms on their scanners blared. The ship's sensors picked up a distant, unfamiliar energy signature approaching. "Fast, multiple contacts," a soldier shouted. "Unknown class, massive energy spikes." On Earth's command ship, Admiral Kane received the same alert. He watched as strange ships appeared at the system's edge. They were unlike anything recorded in galactic history, dark, jagged, and moving silently like shadows through the void. The alien empires watching from a distance fell into chaos. Their commanders shouted over each other, "It's them!" One screamed, "The old enemy! They still exist!" The Galactic Council warships began pulling back in fear. Admiral Kane opened the channel to his fleet. "We hold this ground," he ordered. "No one runs. Not while Earth still stands." Back on the horizon, Captain Elena Cross slowly sat up, despite her weakness. She looked at Mara and her team. "There's a reason we disappeared," she said, her voice low but steady. "We found something terrible out here. And now it's coming back." Mara tightened her grip on her weapon. "Then we'll fight it. Together." Far out in space, the ancient enemy's ships drew closer, and for the first time in 4 centuries, humanity was ready. Asterisk the forgotten threat. Heavy silence filled the horizon's cryo chamber. The crew gathered around Captain Elena Cross, their faces pale with fear and curiosity. Outside the ship, Earth's fleet moved into battle formation, while the alien warships kept their distance. No one wanted to be near the old ship now. The ancient enemy's ships had not attacked yet. They floated at the edge of the system like shadows, their strange hulls absorbing the light of nearby stars. No signals, no warnings, no demands. Just cold, silent presence. On board, Lieutenant Mara knelt beside Captain Cross, who was still weak but awake. The captain's face was pale, and her eyes carried the weight of 4 centuries of secrets. "Captain," Mara said quietly, "you need to tell us what happened." Elena took a deep, shaking breath and looked around at the soldiers and engineers standing nearby. "We found them," she began. "Long ago, on our deep space mission." She paused, her voice cracking slightly. "It was supposed to be a routine exploration. New systems, old wrecks. But we stumbled onto a planet, a prison world, sealed by the ancients." "The ancients?" Mara asked, confused. "Yes," Elena said, nodding. "Long before any of your council empires existed, there were older civilizations. Races so powerful they could reshape stars. They ruled the galaxy in their time, until they met something even they couldn't control. The room grew colder. Even the ship's dim lights seemed to flicker. They called them the Hollow Ones." Elena whispered, "Beings without a homeworld, without a name, without mercy. Their ships swallowed entire systems. No demands. No reasons. Only destruction." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. "The ancient races united and sealed them away on a dead world," she continued. "Built a prison powered by dying stars, cursed by forgotten technology. It should have held them forever. But it didn't," Mara said. Alana's face darkened. "We found the prison. By accident. We didn't know what it was at first. Then we saw the carvings, the warnings, and by then it was too late." A heavy silence fell over the room. We fought. Them, Elena said. The horizon alone against their scouts. We barely survived. Many of my crew died, so I made a choice. We activated old human tech, experimental defenses. It damaged our ship, sent us into deep space, far from the enemy's reach. She closed her eyes for a moment. I ordered the survivors into cryosleep and set the horizon to drift. It was the only way to keep the location secret. If they followed us, it would have led them away from populated systems. And now, they found us again, Mara realized. Yes, Elena said. And this time they're awake. On the bridge of Earth's command ship, Admiral Kane watched the enemy vessels on the screen. Their shapes were impossible to describe, shifting forms of dark metal and bone, with no visible engines or weapons. But the energy readings were terrifying. Any word from the council ships? Kane asked. Retreating, sir, an officer. Reported. They're leaving us behind. Kane gave a humorless smile. Cowards. He opened a channel to the fleet. Listen up. We hold this line, no matter what comes out of that darkness. If we fall here, they'll tear through every planet, every colony, every home we've built. His words reached every ship, and the crews steeled themselves. On the horizon, an old AI system came online. Its voice, glitching but clear, spoke through the speakers. Enemy vessels identified. Threat level. Extinction. Defense protocols reactivated. The ship's ancient weapons hummed to life. Cannons that hadn't fired in centuries powered up. Their targeting systems locking onto the distant enemy. Mara helped Captain Cross to her feet. Can you fight? She asked. Elena's face hardened. I was born for this. Outside, the ancient enemy ships began to move. No warnings. No signals. They charged. Brace for impact. A soldier shouted. And then just before the battle began, something unexpected happened. A pulse of deep, ancient energy surged from the horizon, expanding across space. The enemy ships hesitated, reacting for the first time in centuries. Elena's eyes narrowed. They remember us. Admiral Kane saw the readings. Fire everything we've got, he ordered. And so, after 400 years, the Horizon and humanity's fleet prepared to finish the fight they started long ago. Asterisk. War on the horizon. The ancient enemy's ships moved like shadows, their shapes shifting in the darkness. They made no sound, but every sensor in the system screamed with warnings. Their presence felt wrong, as if space itself twisted around them. On the bridge of Earth's command ship, Admiral Kane stood tall. His face was calm, though his heart pounded. The readings on the screen showed dozens of enemy vessels approaching fast. Enemy contact in 30 seconds. An officer reported. All ships, weapons hot, Kane ordered. Defensive formation. Protect the horizon. Across the fleet, human warships responded. Cannons charged, missiles armed, and shields brightened. Fighters launched from hangar bays, forming protective swarms around the larger ships. Back on the horizon, ancient weapons hummed to life. Lights flickered along the old hull as systems that hadn't activated in centuries came online. The ship's AI spoke through the speakers. Defense grid at 50%. Weapons ready. Lieutenant Mara and Captain Elena Cross stood on the ship's bridge, watching as the enemy ships drew closer. They've grown in number, Elena said, her voice steady. They won't leave this system alive, Mara promised. The first wave of enemy ships came in fast. Strange beams of dark energy fired toward Earth's fleet. One human frigate took a direct hit, its shield shattering before the ship exploded into a ball of fire. Debris scattered. Into the void, returned fire. Admiral Kane shouted. Human cannons roared. Blue and white beams of energy tore through space, striking the enemy ships. Some of the dark vessels shattered under the assault, but others absorbed the hits like mist, reforming seconds later. On the horizon, Elena gave her own command: fire the sun lance. The sun lance was one of Earth's oldest and deadliest. Weapons long believed lost. A single massive cannon that could pierce through planetary shields. Now, after centuries, it powered up once more. Energy gathered at the front of the horizon. A bright light built up, growing larger until it outshone nearby stars. Then, with a deafening blast, the sun lance fired. A beam of pure, white-hot light tore through space, striking one of the largest enemy ships. The monstrous vessel was vaporized instantly, leaving nothing behind. A cheer rose through Earth's fleet. Admiral Kane grinned. That's what I wanted to see. The ancient enemies. Ships hesitated for the first time. They shifted formation, moving cautiously now, as if remembering the strength of the old human vessel. But they didn't retreat. Another wave of dark ships charged. Missiles and fighter squadrons clashed in the void. Explosions lit up the darkness. Like falling stars. Inside the horizon, Mara gripped her weapon as a boarding alert sounded. They're trying to get inside, a soldier reported. Elena's eyes narrowed. Let them come. Dozens of strange enemy boarding crafts latched onto the horizon's hull. Their soldiers, tall, pale creatures with hollow eyes and sharp claws, poured into the ship's corridors. They moved silently, without fear. But humanity was waiting for them. Marines opened fire, pulse rifles lighting up the corridors. Grenades exploded, throwing enemy soldiers backward. The horizon's old defense turrets activated, cutting down anything not human. Mara led the defense herself, her shots precise and deadly. Push them back, she shouted. In the chaos, an enemy warrior lunged at her, its claws reaching for her throat. Before it could strike, Elena appeared, firing her weapon point blank. The creature fell with a shriek. You're not taking my ship. Elena growled. As the battle inside raged. Outside, the fleet held the line. Earth ships circled the horizon, protecting it from the enemy's attacks. Admiral Kane gave the order. For the final strike, all ships fire on my mark. Weapons charged one last time. The horizon's sun lance prepared another blast. The ancient enemy, sensing defeat, tried to pull back. But it was too late. Mark. Kane commanded. The void was filled with light as Earth's fleet unleashed everything they had. Beams, missiles, torpedoes, and cannon fire struck the enemy ships. One by one, the dark vessels exploded. The last enemy ship tried to flee, but the horizon's sun lance fired again, destroying it in a blinding flash. Silence followed. The battle was over. Earth's fleet floated in the aftermath. Debris drifted, fires burned out, and the wounded were counted. On the horizon's bridge, Elena Cross stood tall, covered in dust and blood, but alive. They won't forget us this time, she said quietly. Admiral Kane's voice came through the comms. We did it, he said. The galaxy is safe, for now. But far beyond the stars, in a hidden part of the galaxy, another ancient signal stirred. A warning, a promise. We will return. And humanity would be waiting. Humanity's return, the battlefield lay silent. Wreckage from hundreds of destroyed ships drifted in the cold dark of space. Fires flickered weakly in the distance. The ancient enemy's vessels were gone, burned away by Earth's final strike. Only scraps of blackened metal remained, slowly falling toward the dead star's pull. In the middle of it all, the horizon stood alone, scarred but unbroken. Its old cannon still smoked, and its hull was marked with the wounds of battle. But its lights glowed brighter than they had in centuries. On the bridge, Captain Elena Cross leaned heavily against a control panel. Her face was pale, her uniform torn, but her eyes shone with fierce pride. It's over, said Lieutenant Mara, standing beside her. "For now," Elena replied, her voice low. On the fleet's command ship, Admiral Kane ordered the battle reports. Many brave ships had been lost. Some would never return home. But humanity had done what no other race in the galaxy dared, faced an ancient enemy and survived. The Galactic Council, watching from the edge of the system, was silent. Their warships hadn't fired a single shot in the battle. Their leaders had only watched as humans fought for the safety of every race. A message came from the Council's flagship. The voice of Varkesh, the proud leader of the Varkan Empire, sounded different now. The arrogance was gone. Humanity, you have done what the ancients could not. The Council recognizes your strength. The galaxy owes you a debt. Admiral Kane didn't smile. He simply nodded. "About time you noticed," he said. Across the fleet, wounded soldiers were treated, systems repaired, and the dead honored. But in the hearts of every human aboard those ships, one truth now lived. Humanity had returned to its rightful place in the galaxy. On the horizon, old systems were stabilized. The AI, though damaged, continued working, repairing the ship piece by piece. The crew gathered in the main hangar, standing beside the ancient flag of Earth. Some saluted. Others bowed their heads for the lost. Elena addressed them. "You fought with honor," she said. "You defended more than just Earth today. You protected every world, every colony, every race that would have fallen if we failed." She looked at the young faces around her. "Centuries ago, we were forgotten," she continued. "The Council thought we were weak. The galaxy turned its back on us, but we never gave up. And today, we reminded them what it means to be human." A cheer rose through the hangar. The sound echoed through the old ship's halls. The crew began work to prepare the horizon for its return journey. It would fly again, no longer a forgotten relic, but a legend reborn. Admiral Kane sent out a final message to every human colony and outpost across the stars. "The horizon has returned. The ancient threat is defeated. Humanity stands proud once more." The message reached distant planets, mining stations, and deep space settlements. People gathered to watch, their hearts swelling with pride. The name The Horizon became a story whispered in schools, taverns, and council chambers. A symbol of courage and survival. But not all was peaceful. In a hidden part of the galaxy, beyond the edge of known space, something stirred. A single dark signal pulsed, ancient and hateful. It carried a message in a long-dead language. A message that reached the ruins of old listening posts and silent satellites, translated by forgotten systems. It read, "We are not finished." Though the enemy had been driven back, their kind was not truly gone. Back aboard the horizon, as the crew made final repairs, Captain Alana Cross stood alone on the bridge. She stared at the stars ahead, knowing the fight was never truly over. But she smiled, because this time, the galaxy wouldn't stand alone. And neither would humanity. As Earth's fleet turned toward home, the ships passed by the Galactic Councils. Vessels. None of the alien commanders dared speak. They watched as the human fleet sailed past, silent, proud, and untouchable. The horizon led them, its ancient hull shining like a star reborn. And somewhere in the darkness, old enemies waited. But so did humanity. Ready. Stronger than before, and unafraid. Asterisk.